Hey folks, this is Kalani. Patch 9.1 will introduce lots of new content into the game. There's a new zone, a new raid, a new mega dungeon, and plenty of activities to keep us busy. With all of this new content comes a whole menagerie of new mounts to collect. We have about 45 new mounts to look at right now in the very first build of patch 9.1, so what are we waiting for? Let's check them all out. The first mount on our list comes from the new 9.1 raid, the Sanctum of Domination, specifically from the last boss on Mythic difficulty. If you didn't know by now, the last boss is Sylvanas, so it seems fitting that the mount she drops is a rather mean looking dragon hawk. This mount looks incredibly cool and it's definitely worthy of being a Mythic raid boss drop. This also means that we'll be farming Mythic Sylvanas all the way until the end of the expansion, just how like we farmed Mythic Jaina throughout Battle for Azeroth. Next up on the list, we have a new creature to ride around on. These Shardhide Mounts are one of the new mobs we'll find in Korthia, the new zone that was pulled into the Moor. They look kind of like a cross between a bear and a lizard, with shiny fur and tendrils. This amber Shardhide can be purchased from the new Rep Quartermaster in Korthia for 5,000 Stygia. There's a green recolor of this mount called the Beryl Shardhide. This one comes from the Death's Advance supplies. Death's Advance is the name of the new rep down in Korthia, so I guess the supplies are either going to be daily related or it will come from that reputation's Paragon boxes. Then we have a red-orangish colour to collect as well with the Crimson Shardhide. This one doesn't have a source right now, but it does have some interesting flavour text. Only the hardy species survived when Korthia was pulled into the Moor. I guess the Shardhides fit that description. And the last Shardhide we have is called Dark Maul. This is a dark grey recolor with cool purple accents. I love the colours on this mount, and even though it doesn't currently have a listed source, I would say it's a safe bet that this is a Korthia zone rare mob drop, and the rare is probably called Dark Maul. Another new type of creature that arrived with Korthia is the Razorwing. They look similar to the Shardhides, just stretched out a bit and with wings. It looks like this model uses the Wyvern skeleton, which we haven't seen in a while, and they look very dangerous indeed. The Dusklight Razorwing doesn't have a source right now, but it looks cool for sure. The Fierce Razorwing is a green recolor of this mount, and this one also comes from the Death's Advance supplies, so we're going to have plenty of reasons to farm up some rep with the new faction in Korthia. There's also a red recolor with the Garnet Razorwing. Again, no source on this one just yet, but it does have some cool flavor text. Korthia was once known for its bright red flowers, and several species would eat or roll around in them to take on that bright red color. And then the last recolor for this model is the Soaring Razorwing. This one looks awesome. It's kind of like tiger stripes and colors. To pick up this mount, you'll need to get Exalted with the Death's Advance and fork over 7,500 Stygia, so you best start saving now. This next one is a bit of a curious one, Melee the Wanderer. We don't have a source just yet, but from the flavor text, we can safely assume this mount is sourced from Korthia. This could be quest related, maybe recovering this mount for her master, or it could be another drop from a rare in the new zone. The Harvester Dredwing is another one-off mount from what we've seen so far in the patch 9.1 PTR files, but this one might be tied closer to Revendreth and the Venthyr, seeing as it's a Harvester's Dredwing. Apparently they fear no Morsworn and will gleefully defend Sinfall, so maybe this mount will come from a story quest or something similar. These next few mounts are super cool. The Fallen Charger is the first golden yellow color we have of these new, more ghostly horse mounts. I feel like this is what Invincible was always meant to be. This mount is a drop from the Fallen Charger, which is probably a rare spawn in the Moor or in the Korthia zone. Of course, we have a few different colours to collect. The Morsworn Charger takes on the typical hues you would see from the Morsworn themselves. You have blue, grey armour and cloth with eerie blue eyes. Apparently, this is also the fate of all horse mounts, so that's kinda scary. This mount comes from an achievement in Torghast, but we're not sure what just yet. We have very similar colours with the Sanctum Gloom Charger. The cloth is more green and the eyes are glowing purple. Very cool indeed. This mount is actually a raid drop from the third boss in the raid, the 9, so that's one more thing to look forward to when the raid finally releases. The last recolor we have of this ghost horse is the Soulbound Gloom Charger, another slight shift with the colours with blue-green glowing eyes. This one comes from Venari's Scavenged Supplies. This could be another Paragon box, or it could be quest or story related to Venari in patch 9.1. Next up are the hand mounts. You might remember these from the BlizzCon preview. We have quite a few to collect from a variety of sources. The Hand of Barmet is up first, and it looks amazing in my opinion. I can't wait to crawl around on these hands, and it might not be too hard to get one. This mount comes from the new Tormentors of Torghast event in the Maw, so if you get a bit lucky you could see this mount very early on. We also have the Hand of Hrestimorak. This is the Glory of the Sanctum Raider achievement, which is the new meta achievement for the 9.1 Sanctum of Domination raid. The flavor text here is very interesting. A race of giants were once sent to the Maw and challenged the jailer. Their bound hands are all that remain. I wonder if we'll see some of these other giants later on. Here's another hand that used to belong to Nilganimat, or however you say that word. I wouldn't mind a golden hand to ride around on. That sounds quite grand to me. This one has the source listed as just the Maw, so I guess it could come from rare spawns, new events, or maybe one of the new reputations based in the Maw. The last one here is the Hand of Salarangor. These last two seem to have the same colour for now. I would assume that's a bug, and one of these golden hands will change to something else before the patch goes live, but this one will be a reward for the achievement related to Korthia and the Maw. This could be a meta achievement or a story completion achievement. We'll just have to wait and see. If you've been waiting to see what the new Covenant flying mounts look like, the wait is over. Here we have the Ardenweald Wilderling. I have to say they look so much better in game versus the BlizzCon preview that we had. I think these mounts will make many a Night Fae player very happy when they can pick them up. This first one is a reward from the Night Fae Covenant. I'm pretty sure you'll just have to work your way through the new Covenant campaign in 9.1 and you'll get this mount more or less for free. There's also an orange and yellow colour, the Autumnal Wilderling. This one doesn't have a source just yet, but I'm pretty sure these mounts are going to be Covenant locked, so whatever the source may be, either higher renown, completing story quests, or just another anima purchase, I'm pretty sure it will be Night Fae exclusive. Then there's also the Spring Wilderling, a purple recolor to really give you some options for repping the Night Fae. I don't know if purple is the first colour I would think of when I imagine spring, but I will happily take more colours of this mount. You may have guessed where this is going by now, but there is also a Summer Wilderling. This one is a deep green and looks just as cool as the others. I wonder if these mounts will become available at different times of the year based on the seasons, though that would create a very long wait for some of them. And to round out these mounts, of course, we have the Winter Wilderling. This might be my favourite so far. The grey and white looks so good on this model. If I had to pick between all of them, I would pick the Winter Wilderling every single time. This next one is a bit strange, but that never stopped any of the mount collectors I know. The Tamed Mauler is a new Devourer mount that looks like it would much rather eat you than let you ride around on it. We don't have a source for this one just yet, but from the flavor text it sounds like another taming quest. We've already had one Devourer taming quest that ended with a new mount, so I guess we have another one to look forward to in patch 9.1. Then we also have the new Kyrian flying mount, starting with the Ascendance Aquilon. These mounts remind me of the Priest Legion class Hall mounts, the kind of griffin-like body with the bird or owlish head. Obviously, this is quite a bit different with it being an anima construct with massive wings to carry you through the air. I think they look great and will be a fine addition to any Kyrian's mount collection. The battle-hardened Aquilon looks a bit more tarnished with brassy gold trim and the typical blue glow of anima. They did a great job turning another beast into an anima construct. I'm definitely going to be jealous of some of these mounts. There's no source listed for some of them just yet, but it's safe to say they'll all be tied to Kyrian activities. The Elysian Aquilon goes in the other direction. It's bright, it's shiny, it's gold and silver, and it looks amazing. This one does have a source. Kyrian Bastion. That might not seem all too helpful, but that probably means this is the reward from progressing through the new Renown grind and completing the new Covenant campaign. And the last one is the Forsworn Aquilon, which despite it being the bad Kyrian's colour scheme, I think this is the coolest of the lot. So maybe my character should join the Forsworn instead of the Kyrian. Apparently the Forsworn threat remains, so they're going to stick around in the story for a while, but I'm fine with that if we get super awesome mounts like this. The Necrolord flying mount is up next, starting with the Battlefield Swarmer. You know how I said I'd be jealous of the Kyrian mounts? I kind of feel like the opposite for these ones. Corpse flies are strongly attracted to the smell of dead bodies and will swarm an active battlefield as soon as the first corpse falls. Isn't that just lovely? The dev team are going to have way too much fun with the different colours on this mount, I can tell you right now. The Lord of the Corpse Flies is next, just in case you wanted the leader of this pack of poop flies. The purple colours do look pretty cool, but I still wouldn't be seen riding around on one of these things. I feel kind of bad for the Necrolords, but at the same time, I know there are players out there who are loving the idea of just flying these mounts right into people's faces for fun. The Maldraxian Corpsefly is an orange and green recolor, and this is the one with a source, which means it'll probably be the one you get for completing your new Covenant campaign in patch 9.1. The others you're going to have to work a little bit more for, no doubt. And the last fly to collect is the Regal Corpsefly. I have to agree with the flavor text on this one. Only the forces of Maldraxxus would call a Corpsefly Regal. Hopefully this is one of the hardest ones to obtain to really back up that Regal title, but either way all of these mounts are completely gross, so I guess they fit in well with Maldraxxus. And the last Covenant flying mount to look at is for the Venthyr. The Obsidian Gravewing is an animated gargoyle just for you to ride around on, and they look awesome. These mounts are massive stone Goliaths. What more could you want to complete your Venthyr fantasy? The armor, the red glow, the demonic eagle face. This is probably the best looking Covenant mount in my opinion. I can't wait to earn these on my Venthyr characters. The Grave Palewing looks just as cool, the white really works with the red glows, and it looks like this particular monstrosity was carved out of clean marble or alabaster or whatever white rock you prefer. Sadly, once again we don't have any sources for most of these Covenant mounts, but I can't wait to see where they come from so I can collect them all. And then the last colour we have to look at right now is the Sinfall Gravewing. This will be the one you get in your Covenant campaign by the looks of things, and while I think the other two look a bit better, I would still be more than happy to ride around on this colour. The golden armour really sets it off too. We don't have a fourth colour variation for the Venthyr mount in-game just yet, so I'm guessing we have plenty more mounts to look forward to in patch 9.1. I think a dark obsidian-like gargoyle could look really cool too. Up next we have a new disc mount. The Cartel Master's Gear Glider will let us ride around in style. It looks like a repurposed model from the Legion Mage class Hall mount, but this time it will be available for everybody. This mount does not have a source listed yet, but I'm sure it will come from the new megadungeon, probably a hard mode achievement or from the last boss. We have a few different discs to pick from too. The Pilfered Gear Glider doesn't look all too different, but as we move from one to the other, you should be able to see a slight difference in the metal platform colour. The orbs on the outside don't change right now, but that could always change by the time this patch goes live. Once again, this mount doesn't have a source, but I'm sure it's related to the dungeon somehow. There's also the Silver Gear Glider, or I assume that's supposed to say silver anyway. Apparently this one is a more expensive version of your typical glider owned by the cartel higher-ups. I guess we know who we have to kill to try and grab this one for ourselves. And the last one is the Tazavesh Gear Glider. This is a golden variation and might be the coolest looking one so far. I'm kind of surprised none of these mounts have a source listed, but I assume most of them will be dungeon related, if not all of them. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the next mega dungeon plays out, so these mounts will be a great reward to go hunting for. These next two are kind of oddballs as they come from the same kind of source. We have the Undying Darkhound, which is a recolor of one of the various Maldraxxus mounts that we've been able to collect so far in Shadowlands, but this new mount comes from the War Chest of the Undying Army. These War Chests are awarded for helping a specific Covenant in their assaults in the Maw. This is a new type of event where you fight alongside the Covenant to help make the Maw a better place by killing everything in sight. You can only get this mount from the events where you are helping the Necrolords. The other mount you can earn in a similar fashion is the Wild Hunt Leg Splitter. This is another Gore mount that comes from the War Chest of the Wild Hunt, so it's the same deal, except you have to be helping the Night Fae down in the Maw with their assault to get this as your prize, which has a chance to contain the mount. And then to finish off this long list of mounts, we have the new PvP reward mount. The Unchained Gladiator's Soul Eater is the Gladiator reward for Season 2 of Shadowlands rated PvP. It looks very similar to the first season's Gladiator reward with a different colour armour if I remember correctly. Still a very cool and distinguishable mount, so it's going to be another prestigious mount to go after. And the new Vicious mount coming in patch 9.1 for Season 2 of PvP is going to be a heavily armoured Gorm. The Vicious War Gorm looks quite fancy in all its heavy plate gear. This first one is the Horde version, obviously. You wouldn't catch the Alliance riding around in this much red. They prefer silvers and golds and blues, and I would have to say it works out quite well on this bulky beast. This would actually be a Vicious mount I would ride around on. They did a great job in these Vicious mounts in my opinion, especially with the differences between the Horde and Alliance versions. And that's all of the new mounts coming in patch 9.1 from what we've seen so far. 45 extra mounts in the very first PTR build is kind of crazy. As the PTR cycle unfolds, we'll be able to patch in those missing source holes, and we might find a few more mounts added to the list. But that's it for this video. What do you think of the new mounts from what you've seen so far? Which mounts are your favourite, and are there any of them that you don't like? Leave all your thoughts in the comment section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and to everyone who's subscribed on Twitch. You can see their names floating by on screen. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you never miss another video. Thanks for watching, folks. Good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.